Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to discuss the 5 most important situational interview questions for the role of a Scrum Master. These questions are based on situations and these are very tough questions that have been asked in a very recent interview that was for the role of a Agile Delivery Manager slash Scrum Master. So these are from a real interview, very tough questions, and this should give you an idea of what kind of questions that are being asked out in the market in today. And hopefully this video provides value to you and helps you out in your journey of finding a job. Now, with that out of the way, let's get started. So, the first question on this list is, how did you handle a situation when you had to make a tough decision for your team? Now, what the interviewer is trying to ask with this question is that he or she is trying to assess your decision making skills and how you operate under pressure. So, how did you handle a tough situation when you had to make a tough decision for your team? How I will answer this question is, thank you so much for asking this question. As a Scrum Master, as an Agile Delivery Lead Manager, there are a lot of situations where we have to choose one from the other. Of course, we are influencers and facilitators for our team, and we facilitate discussions for our team. But there are many situations when we had to make a tough decision for our team. In one of the scenarios where I had to make a tough decision for my team was a situation where I was leading two teams, and one of the teams was performing Scrum, and the other team was also performing Scrum. But Scrum is the framework of inspection and adaptation. We have to continuously be inspecting and adapting and making changes and be flexible as we go. While for the other team, we had a workflow that varied on a daily basis. We had a fixed amount of workflow, but it came in on a daily basis. And when we are running a sprint, we used to have scope creep on a daily basis. So it was a challenge for us because we wanted to develop a system for that team that was not exactly Scrum, but a mixture of Scrum and Kanban because of the amount of workflow they were getting in on a daily basis. So, in that situation, I had to make a decision to convince my team as well as the management and the stakeholders to implement a process that doesn't involve all the Scrum ceremonies because we have a fixed amount of work and a fixed amount of workflow coming in on a daily basis. So, we don't need a lot of inspection and adaptation, but what we need is a set workflow cycle to manage that incoming workflow. And once we have a set workflow cycle to manage the regular workflow that comes in, we will be able to handle that team in a much effective and efficient way, handle the workload in a much effective and efficient way. So that was one of the situations where I had to make a decision, a difficult decision to move away from Scrum and to move towards Kanban for that particular team because their situation was as such that their workflow was a fixed amount of workload. It was a help desk team. They used to have a work related to help desk. They used to have calls related to help desk. If someone wants to fix their password, someone forget their password, someone forget the user ID and things like that. They used to have a fixed amount. There would be 18 tickets, 20 tickets that comes in on a daily basis. But the work came in on a daily basis. So we used to have scope creep on a daily basis. So Scrum wasn't really the framework for that team. And I made a plan and I made a roadmap of how we will implement it with my team members as well as with the management. And I showed them the value this process will bring and how it will save us time in sitting in daily ceremonies because the workflow is almost the same on a daily basis. How it will save us time, effort, how it will make the team more efficient, and how it will help us improve our practices and help us build a workflow model that we can work on and to resolve and make the team more efficient this way. That was one of the situation where I had to make a tough decision for my team, and I made it using the value that this decision brings to the team by showcasing that value to the stakeholders as well as the team members, and we were able to handle it that way. So in these kind of questions, scenario is most important. You explain a scenario, this was the problem in that scenario, and then you move towards an answer, what you did, and then you move towards the solution, what was the solution, how it impacted the team and things like that. So these are scenario based question. If you want to learn how to answer scenario based question, you can watch one of my videos which explains star method, the star method of answering questions. You can explain that, right? So scenario based questions are basically they are trying to understand your experience, they are trying to understand your real life practical depth that you answer the question by. They're trying to understand all these things. They're trying to understand you from a multiple point of view, and they're trying to see your thinking skills. And of course, with this question, they want to see how you perform under pressure. So with this kind of question, you have to have a perfect scenario from your real life experience, and that's where you can answer this question just like I did right now. So that is the first difficult scenario based situational interview question that was asked in this interview. Now, the second situational scenario based question that was asked in this interview was, how did you handle a situation when your team was unable to meet the planned delivery date? So basically, this is the role of an agile delivery manager, right? So they are asking about delivery dates, like how did you handle a situation when you were not able to meet your delivery date, or if you want to rephrase the words, how did you handle a situation where your team was not able to meet their sprint goal? So yes, as a Scrum Master, there are many situations when we have challenges meeting our delivery dates, or when we have challenges meeting our sprint goals, and we have to change our plans, or we have to make something, fix something within our sprints, just fix some stories, and fix some plans to fit those goals, and to also make sure we are flexible. That is the whole point of having Scrum, is because inspection, adaptation, flexibility, and all these things. So in my situation, what happened was, we had a planned delivery date. We were planning to deliver a feature to the business by a certain delivery date, and everything was laid out on the roadmap. Everything was broken down into user stories, and we were ready to go. While we were working, there was one resource that ended up leaving the project, and it was a critical resource that was critical for this delivery. And in that situation, what ended up happening was, we didn't have anybody who could replace that resource in that place and help us move our delivery along. So what ended up happening in that situation was, it ended up it we had a gap of 1 month where we had to wait till the new resource gets onboarded, and then only we were able to cover those gaps and move our delivery date along. But we were delayed by almost 2 weeks in our we were getting delayed by almost 2 weeks in our delivery. In that situation, what I was doing was, so I there is one way to do it, that is by being proactive. How to be proactive is that I'm always communicating with my stakeholders, with my management, about our sprint planning sessions, about our sprint demo sessions. Everything that's going on in the team is communicated on a regular basis with the management as well as the stakeholders. When it's communicated regularly with them, there are no surprises. When there are no surprises, so when this resource ended up leaving, in that situation, they were already aware of the situation, because they could see from the last 2 weeks that this resource was already planning on it, and they had already communicated this with the team and things like that. So there wasn't a surprise. So in that situation, I was able to handle the situation perfectly well, because everybody was already aware of this challenge that is about to present itself. And when everybody is aware, we are all working towards a solution towards it, instead of playing the blame game. So that is how I handled this situation. And also, next time, so to avoid this situation from not happening again, is that what I did, and I sat down with my team and I brought up this discussion, that how can we make sure that there is no single point of failure, and how can we build a more cross-functional team, so that if one resource leaves, the other resources can cover up for that. They have the skills and the knowledge to cover up for that. What we ended up doing, and what we came up with, when I facilitated the discussion in the retrospective, the team came up with the ideas of having peer reviews, and pair programming exercises and hackathons, where the team can come together and they can review each other's code and learn from each other, and have hackathons where they can learn and code and do things that together, play those games to catch the flag, and doing hackathons where they can learn those skills that make the team a cross-functional team, so that there is no bottleneck, or there is no single point of failure within the team. That is how I was able to handle this situation, and that was the result of it. So now, in this answer, I explained the situation. The situation was that as resource ended up leaving, that's why in middle of the project, that was a situation. Then told that what was my action item. I was being proactive about it. I was already communicating with the stakeholders, the management. That was my action item that I was doing. The solution was, they were already aware. So we ended up getting late, of course, by 2 weeks, but they were already aware, so it didn't make a whole fuss. We didn't get into the blame game and things like that. Not only that, what was the impact of this on your team? The impact was that we discussed that we will have cross-functional exercises, so that we don't have single bottlenecks within our team, or single point of failures, so that things like this never happen again. That is what we were able to do with this situation. Now, the third question is the third most difficult situational interview question that is being asked out there nowadays is, as you guys know, the Scrum Master role, nobody wants to hire just a simple Scrum Master anymore. People want to hire a Scrum Master that knows product management. People want to hire a Scrum Master that knows the skills of a delivery manager. People want to hire Scrum Master nowadays that know multiple things. If you know just Scrum and just, simple Scrum Master, it's almost impossible to get a job in this market right now. So the third question that was asked from this particular person in this Agile Delivery Manager Scrum Master interview was, how did you make improvements to your team in the past since the time you joined the company? Now, with this question, the interviewer is trying to understand that when the company hired you, where was the team? And what value have you provided to your team since the time you have been there? So the interviewer is trying to understand your thinking, how you implement things, and how successful you have been with implementing things in your team. Not only that, what value have you provided to the company that you are there, so that they can understand, your worth basically. So this is a very important question, very strategic question, and it can help you and it can break you. So you have to be very careful while answering this question, right? So how I will answer this question is that in my particular team, when I joined, we were following kind of a pseudo Scrum. We were following Scrum, but some of the ceremonies were missing. Also, the backlog was kind of all over the place. The team was very inefficient and very mismanaged. There was a lot of conflicts between the team. So when I joined, my first 30-day plan was to observe all these things happening there and kind of understand where the gaps are within the team. So once I laid out the plan, once I understood all the inefficiencies that I can work on with the team and kind of help the team improve and mature, I laid out a plan where the first thing that we were going to do was we were going to leverage the power of the Scrum process. How do we leverage the power of the Scrum process is by the Scrum ceremony. So in my situation, what we ended up doing was we ended up having we didn't have a sprint retrospective when I joined the team. So we ended up introducing the practice of having a sprint retrospective after every sprint, so that the team members can come together and they can retrospect, they can go back, look at what we have done in the sprint that did was not so good, that was great, that we need to improve on, that we do well, so that we understand our weaknesses as well as our strengths as a team. There is no I in the team, we all work together, and we have to kind of see how we can make the team better and how we can help the team mature as we are moving along in the process. That practice of retrospective alone has helped us so much in improving our team, is because we have been able to implement so many good practices, like I mentioned before, like pair programming exercises, like helping us build a cross-functional team. Not only that, we have also been able to implement some automation within our testing frameworks as well, which has helped us improve our efficiency. And also we were able to implement the practice of estimation, which helped us. Earlier we were estimating in hours, now we are estimating story points. It has helped us be more collaborative, be more transparent. Also, it has helped us clearly define our goals that we are trying to achieve and help have clarity about those goals within the minds of the whole team. Not only that, we have also when we are doing story point exercise, it also makes the person who is working on the user story, gives them more clarity on what they need to do, which helps us improve our team efficiency over time. So just this one practice has helped us a lot, and just from this one practice we have come up with so many other practices that the team has now implemented. And I have been helping and mentoring and coaching the team and guiding them along this process, and how the velocity has gone up, the efficiency of the team has improved, the customer satisfaction has gone up, and the amount of bugs that we were having in our code has gone down by a lot. The amount of conflict that was within the team has gone down by a lot. And we are more clear on what we need to do. Our backlog looks healthy. Our sprint board is more organized and more well refined and more to the point. So those are some of the things that I have done in my team that are clearly visible in the metrics as well as in the team's behavior and in the team's maturity, that I can say that I have brought improvements in my team from my time of being there, since the time I joined to my time of being there. That's how I would answer this question. This is a very important question, and make sure you express all these points, what you have done to your team since you joined, and you make sure you go in depth as much as you can about every point, so that they can understand what value you bring to the table. Okay, now then I'm moving on to the next question. Question 4. How do you motivate multiple teams to work towards a common goal? Okay. So basically, this is this is two questions in one. So basically they are asking, have you ever managed multiple teams in the past, and how have you managed those multiple teams in the past? And then the second question is, how do you motivate those teams to work towards a common goal? So this is a very important question, because as scrum masters, as in the position of this leadership role, we are influencers. We are not direct dictators, or we are not dictating the team to do things. We are influencing them to do things. How we influence them by doing things is by leveraging the process of the scrum ceremonies, by leveraging the scrum process, right? By leveraging the scrum empirical process and the scrum ceremonies. That's how we that's how we kind of use our influence or in the team, and facilitate those discussions, and the teams come up with solution. That's basically what we do, right, as scrum masters, right? And that eventually helps us make the team better, helps us make the process better, helps us deliver a better product, and helps the company overall, right? So how would we motivate a team to work towards a common goal, right? The first thing is, uh, how do people get motivated, right? And motivation is temporary, right? You have to kind of keep them motivated on a daily basis. If you start motivating by doing pumping up quotes and these things like that, you can't motivate intelligent people like that. Intelligent people are not motivated by money, or pump ups or things like that. Intelligent people are motivated by being involved with something, by creating something of value, right? Excuse me. Bless me, excuse me. So intelligent people are motivated by creating something of value and being part of that value creation, right? So how do you motivate intelligent people? Is how do you motivate creators, how do you motivate developers and testers and all these people, right? How do you motivate them is by getting them involved in the process, making them feel like they are part of the process, and not only that, making them feel like they're working towards a bigger goal, right? That's how you motivate them indefinitely, where you don't need to come in every day and pump them up, pump them up, pump them up. No, that's not feasible. So how I would answer this question is, yes. So in my experience, what I have observed is that pumping people on a daily basis, through multiple ways, or through giving them multiple whatever media or pictures, like pumping them up and motivating them temporarily, it doesn't work in the long term. It's not feasible. I think people feel more motivated when they feel like they are part of the process and they're working towards a bigger goal as a team, and they are more involved in the process. That is indefinite motivation for people. So what I try to implement as a scrum master, what I try to facilitate and do in my team, is that whenever there is a scrum ceremony, for example, we are having our sprint planning session, I make sure that the team is picking up their own work. Nobody, the senior developer or the tech lead or someone, is not assigning, okay, you do this, you do this. No, the team members are picking up their own work. Okay, they are coming up with a sprint goal of their own. They are defining a sprint goal on their own, and every team member is participating in that. I make sure of that. What that does is they feel more involved in the process. Not only that, when we are doing our estimation exercises, when we are doing our sprint user story estimation, at that point I make sure that all the team members are assigning story points to every user story, because because it's a cross functional team, right? So that helps to make them help to make them involved in the process. When they feel involved in the process, they participate more, they feel more passionate to do the work, because now it's their personal skin in the game, right? The other thing that I do is that not only do we focus on work on a sprint basis, right? Work. No, getting work done is important, but I also make sure that we have a practice on every alternate Friday before the end of the sprint. We spare one day just for teams' personal goal development, where we give them space to have their own personal goals and work on their personal goals, whether it's learning a new skill, whether it's getting a new certification, or whatever it is important to them, right? Giving them the space to work on those personal things, or having some fun activities, like like hackathons, or like some building games, some icebreaker events, something like that on a Friday, where they feel like they are cared for, they feel involved, and their personal goals matter and their personal development matters to us. When they see that, they are indefinitely motivated to be part of the team and to work towards that common goal and to do a better job, because it's now it becomes personal to them. So that's what I have done in my role in the past, to help motivate my team to work towards a common goal. And if you can answer it that way, this will be a great answer, because it's basically, how do you motivate people, intelligent people? You can't motivate them with money. More not intelligent people, yes, to some extent they can be motivated with money, but then it becomes a pain, right? So indefinite motivation comes from them being part of the process, them feeling involved in the process, and them feeling like they are creating something meaningful, and it's a bigger goal that they're working towards. That's how you do it. Okay. Now, the next question is, what kind of challenges have you faced in your team, and how have you made your team succeed despite those challenges? So, this is a very interesting question. Now, so they are trying to understand that, they're trying to understand your experience, they're trying to understand your depth of your knowledge, and they're trying to understand, like, your way of resolving problems and how you come out on the top, even if you do come out on the top. So, they're trying to understand a lot of things with this question. So, it's a very deep question, right? So this interview was one in a million, because these kind of questions, when some interviewer is asking these kind of questions, this should tell you that, they are very smart, and they want a person who has a lot of experience, who has a lot of knowledge, and who has a lot of just hands-on experience dealing with multiple situations, multiple types of situations, and things like that. So they are looking for a very experienced person. Just through these questions, you can tell. So, and these questions are becoming more and more common now, because a lot of so whenever we are putting out a job of Scrum Master, let's say 800, 900 people are applying, and most of those people, they don't have real experience. So it becomes even more crucial for companies now to hire the right people to ask these kind of questions, because of the bad experience that a lot of companies have been having. So now interviews are getting a little bit more tougher and tougher, and they're getting a little bit more scenario based. So if you don't have practical experience, if you have never worked, no matter how many certifications you have, no matter what no matter how many videos you watched, it's almost impossible to land a job, because sooner or later you will be screened out, because someone or the other who has real experience, who has worked on a real project, like someone who has taken my mentorship and who has worked on a real project with me, and as a Scrum Master and a product owner, that person will be able to beat out the person who doesn't have any real experience, who has worked with mentors who only teach Scrum Mastership and things like that. So it becomes very, very important to focus on getting real experience in this market. If you don't have real experience, it's very tricky nowadays to get a job. So the next question is, what kinds of challenges? Okay, so how I will answer this question is that, in my personal experience, um, what the biggest challenge that I have faced in as a Scrum Master is mindset. Mindset around the role of a Scrum Master, mindset with Agile, mindset with the Scrum practices, mindset with the Scrum principles, mindset with the Scrum ceremonies. And the mindset is that sometimes these things are viewed as a waste of time in organizations, and some of the organizations, they're very focused on working, producing, but they are not focused on having a smooth process that can make things a little easier for everyone, help us clearly define things which can improve our productivity, help us work together as a team which can improve our productivity, rather than just focusing on work, produce. That situation doesn't last for long, and it can be a very detrimental situation for the team as well as the company as a whole. In the long term, it's just not feasible. What Scrum gives us is the leverage to use these ceremonies to build a better team, to build more collaboration, to have more clarity, reduces which reduces the amount of challenges that we face while doing the work, and makes our team more efficient and more better than we just, as compared to when you just focus on work, right? So the biggest challenge that I have faced is with mindset of people. When people are not accustomed to the Scrum ceremonies and the Scrum process, and they don't want to be involved in the process, that becomes a very big challenge, because now implementing the ceremonies, or now helping helping facilitate those ceremonies within the teams to make the teams more mature and better and efficient and build a better product and build a more collaborative team with less employee turnover, it becomes very, very challenging because of the resistance that we face, from some people, because they have had bad experience with the bad scrum master before or things like that. So that has been my biggest challenge in my personal experience as a scrum master in my role. Now, how I have tackled those challenges, how I have faced those challenges, is by being patient. First of all, understanding where people are coming from, understanding why people have that mindset, understanding what's the reasoning behind that mindset. Once we can understand the reasoning and show empathy towards their cause, then explaining to them how each thing brings value to the team and how it will make the team better from what they are currently doing. If we start implementing this ceremony, how it will make the team better, how it will improve the collaboration, everything within the team, and make the team better overall. Once we are able to showcase that value, then it becomes easier to handle that resistance. And then when we start implementing it, and we can start implementing it in a good way as scrum masters with the help of the team and everyone else, then it becomes very, very easy to tackle this mindset, to tackle this difficulty, because the people can actually see the value, and when they can see the value, they automatically get attracted. There is no need to convincing them on a daily basis and things like that. So one of the biggest challenges that I've faced is mindset, and how I have fixed that mindset is by working with people, showing them the value and that Scrum process brings to the table, from what we are currently doing, how it's better, how we can make our team better, what will improve if we implement this process, and also how it will reduce the conflict, make the team more collaborative, more build a better product in a shorter amount of time, and how it will make the team productive overall in the long term and help us reduce the employee turnover and all these things. So that has been one of the biggest challenges, and how I have fixed this is by showing the value, and once we showcase the value, then it becomes easier to kind of implement these practices, and once we implement these practices, the results speak for themselves. So that's how I have faced these challenging situations in the past in my team. So these were the questions that were asked in a very recent interview, and I thought of making this video to kind of showcase that what kind of questions are being asked nowadays, and I will show the screen once again for anybody that is taking notes. So how did you handle a situation when you had to make a tough decision for your team? Handling a situation, you can go back and watch this video. And second question was, how did you handle a situation when your team was unable to meet the planned delivery date? Third question was, how did you make improvements to your team in the past since the time you joined the company? Fourth question is, how do you motivate multiple teams to work towards a common goal? And fifth question is, what kind of challenges have you faced in your team, and how have you made your team succeed despite those challenges? So if you're still watching this video, then it means you are a true aspirant. That means you are really focused on getting a job. So I will give you advice. Anything that I said in this video, any word that I spoke, any little phrase that I said, anything that I said that is correlated, I'm a cross-functional team, single point of failure, bottleneck, uh, you know all these words that I spoke in this video, anything you hear, write it down and Google it and research on it. What does this word mean? Every word that I spoke in this video, you should understand very, very well. Not only this video, all my interview videos, any word that I've said, you should understand that word, and you should start using that word when you're practicing your interview questions. So how I would prepare if I was looking for a Scrum Master job right now is, I would watch this video. Any word that I spoke, I would write it down, research on that word, because terminology is super important. When you are a new person, right? When you are interviewing, the interviewer, first of all, they are looking to see your terminology. Did you even have the terminology to as a Scrum Master, right? Because if you don't speak the language, that means you don't know that means you are not part of that environment, right? If you are part of that environment, then you automatically speak the language, it sticks to your tongue, right? So it's very important to have the right terminology. How do you have the right terminology? Is watching my video, writing the words that I speak down, researching those words, using those words in your interview questions, using those words in your answers when you are answering the interview questions, right? That's how you learn the terminology. That's how you make your answers better. So terminology is very, very important. Start with a strong intro. When you're doing the interview, have a strong intro. My name is this, and you can watch my video. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and you can get the points to how to do the intro properly. Start with a strong intro, answer the questions with scenario based examples, with scenario, with confidence. What problem was it, what was the action items that you took, how did you solve the problem, was the problem solved, what was the impact of it on the team. Then once you have done that, then end the interview with asking the interviewer good questions about themselves, about the challenges they are facing, and all those things about their expectations from this role. So if you do that, if you follow this process of doing the interviews, it will help you out a lot. Because and the more you do it, the more practice you get. But the so it's becoming more and more important nowadays in these markets, that and in the new upcoming tech world that is changing constantly. It is becoming more and more important to kind of be smart and be ahead of the curve, and keep learning and keep trying, and keep improving your terminology and keep getting better day by day, because the competition is more. But the good thing is, the competition is from people that do not know the real world. The competition was from people that are just running at things without knowing what they are doing or what they are saying. These people are being trained by these other people that themselves don't know what's going on in the real world. So if you are someone who is trying and trying and trying, the real world is changing very rapidly. You need to have a broad set of knowledge. You need to know what's being a product owner like. You need to know what's being a scrum master like. You need to know what's being a release manager, a delivery manager like. You need to know all the multiple skills to crack the interview of a scrum master in this market. Because if you don't know those skills, it's getting very, very, very challenging to grab a job in this market from what we are seeing out there. So good luck to you if you're trying. Keep trying and keep working hard. If you need help with getting a scrum master job, if you're looking for mentorship, and if you have been trying and you have been facing difficulty, you can always reach out to me. You can always become part of our mentorship plan. We are having a lot of success with people in our group, and you can always become part of that success, and you can always learn and grow your career that way. Make this investment in yourself, which is the best investment that you will ever make. I'm the only person that can help you get a scrum master job. Thank you so much for watching. This is it for today, and we'll see you in the next one. Adios.